fires in Canada have been, you're from Massachusetts, so you're getting smoke from there too. The smoke from the fires in Canada has been so intense that it's literally blocking out the sun, which is not good for anybody's health, right? And from Aurora, Chantel's from Aurora. She lives here in Colorado. She knows what I'm talking about. The weird thing is it's not, it doesn't smell like smoke. So usually when we get this much smoke from something, you can smell it. So I can't actually smell the smoke, but it's definitely blocking out the sun. It's causing some bad boulders bad to Mountain Girl 912 lives in Boulder. And then today I was swimming at the outdoor pool. Swim season has started. Don't worry, I will have goggles hand lines soon. They will look ridiculous. Getting a dose in Washington too. And it smells like a local fire. Interesting. Leaving Florida for New York next Thursday. So you'll probably get it there. It's 85 in Texas. Nice. So I was swimming at the outdoor pool and I got out of the pool and did my normal routine of like closing up the pool and got in my car. And all of a sudden there was like severe thunderstorms. And I was like, what the heck? And for Chantel, I swim out by Lowry, near the Bonfils blood bank. Yeah, the sky's super hazy, but it's so bad here. Like, there have been a couple of days where we have not seen the sun, even though it has been sunny, because the smoke is so intense, it's literally blotting it out. Speaking of which, I promised somebody that I would bring them a Happy Light tomorrow, so I have to remember to put that in my car tonight. Someone said great hair. Thank you. Yeah, you can't see the mountains. Well, today, right after that thunderstorm, I could for like a brief moment. But it's kind of crazy. So, well, I mean, the rain is better than dry, I guess, in some respects, because at least you're pulling some of that smoke out of the air. I don't know. I just know that it's a lot. Like it's a lot of smoke, and I could do with a little sun myself. And some people that I know could do with some sun because they are getting grumpy. You got hail in Greeley, Brian? We did not get that. So I saw that like north of here, it looked a lot darker. And at my house, it was like dark, but not as dark as it was out of the pool. So I'm not surprised that you guys got hail in Greeley. I wouldn't be surprised if they got some up further north too, but we didn't get hail. We just had lightning. It didn't even rain here. It got windy, but it didn't even rain at my house, which was kind of disappointing, although I did get to grill chicken outside, so that was good. So we had grilled chicken and grilled Brussels sprouts for dinner. Quite tasty. And thank you for the likes. Anytime you guys give likes, just so you know, it does help get this boosted so that other people can see it. And it helps my stuff show up more on the For You page. So if you think more people could benefit from simple health tricks, don't forget to like. Yeah, and you're closer to California, so getting the smoke from California would not be a surprise. But we have had in Colorado a couple of years ago, we got some of the smoke from the wildfires in California, and we could smell it. This one, I can't smell it. So it's like it's really high up in the atmosphere or something. I don't know. It's weird. I don't like it. But kind of, what am I drinking? It's a lemon sparkling water from Costco, and it is the Kirkland brand. And I put 3 drops of lemon essential oil in it as well. Oh, thank you, Christopher. That is so nice. I've been getting a little battered and bruised lately on here. I'm just going to take off this fleece because now it's warmer in here. There are people who think that my voice is too deep and think that I am telling lies about general health stuff and I'm trying to kill people. I've gotten all those comments lately. So it's been quite fun. But yeah, what are you gonna do? Basically, the information that I try and give you guys is just like simple as possible, because there's so much stuff out there that's already complicated. Why would we want to make health any more complicated than it needs to be? There are a lot of trolls, John. And the funny thing to me is, what I'm saying, my guess is what I'm saying is literally so simple that people can't believe it's actually true. And people are a little crazy. Barometric pressure changes are killing your head with your TBI. I bet. Yeah. You can ask questions about vaccines. My general statement about vaccines: a vaccine is meant to prevent the spread of disease. Diseases that can kill people that are preventable, maybe we should vaccinate against. However, we probably vaccinate way too early and way too much. And the reason for that is a baby is not allowed to have eggs until they're a year old. They're not allowed to have honey until they're a year old. They're not allowed to have any bee-related products until they're a year old. Yet some of the vaccines have things in them that come from those products. So a child is now exposed to over 400 chemicals just in vaccines before their first birthday. Do I think that the vaccine schedule needs some work? Yes. Do I think we should get rid of them altogether? Probably not, because there are ones like diphtheria, whooping cough, tetanus, measles, mumps that can actually, like when somebody gets mumps, it's a swelling of the lymph nodes. I've seen it so that someone's lymph nodes through their neck are so swollen that they have to do a tracheotomy because the person can't breathe. So if we could prevent the spread of those, should we? Probably. Polio is another one, because post-polio syndrome is also not good. Hi, Frank, how are you? I had a pretty good day. I got to swim outside today. And the interesting thing, people are like, well, if you got the chickenpox vaccine, you can never get shingles, and that's actually not true. So I have trouble with something like a vaccine for something as simple as chickenpox. I have a lot of trouble with vaccines that when we see them go on the market, they spike VAERS reports. And the most recent ones are not the only ones. If you look back, there was one that was introduced targeted specifically at young women that caused a lot of injuries. So I had chickenpox. My sister actually had mumps. I didn't get mumps, but I had chickenpox. And I mean, if you choose to vaccinate, that is completely on you. Like it's a personal decision, right? And you have to look at your risk tolerance level and decide what you're willing to do. That's all. The other thing I will say about vaccines is there is an adult vaccine schedule and nobody talks about it. And you can get your titers tested to see if something is still active in your system or whether or not you should be vaccinated again. And so a lot of times we blame parents who aren't vaccinating their children for spreading things like chickenpox or measles or whatever. But the truth is, when's the last time you were vaccinated? So if you're not willing to get that same vaccine, if you're not willing to look at the adult vaccine schedule and go into your doctor's office and say, it's my turn to get this thing. Why are you making your children get it? I guess is my thought. Because there is an adult vaccine schedule. They do run out. And it's not a vaccine. The COVID shot is not a vaccine. It doesn't prevent the spread of disease. It doesn't prevent the illness. Just like the flu shot doesn't prevent the illness. It might lessen your symptoms. And in any given year, the flu shot is only 40% effective, and about 38% of Americans get it. So that's one of those things that it's like, I haven't gotten a flu shot. In all honesty, I have not had a vaccine since my twins were born. And the reason is I had a severe reaction. I was vaccine injured. I went anaphylactic with the tetanus. It's now, so diphtheria, whooping cough, and tetanus are in one shot. You can request to get them split up, but it's really hard to get them split up. Most pediatrician offices don't carry it as a 3-part, they carry it as the one. And if you get it done at your well child visit, it's free. But if you go in and make your own appointment, it's like $20. So I was just doing it as part of the well child visit. And I had an anaphylactic reaction. And then I worked with a immunologist and a hematologist after the boys were born, because there were some issues that came up. I spent 25 weeks on bed rest with the twins. And they walked back some issues and related them directly to a flu shot and related to miscarriages to a flu shot. So I have not been vaccinated since August, like 23rd or 25th or something like that of 2010 for anything. Because I had a really bad reaction. Hi, Bobby. I am good. You got a US visa today? Am I anemic? I'm not anemic, actually. I had been anemic prior to my twins, and since then I have not been. So pregnancy fixed that for me. And Bobby, you live in Canada, right? Your mom got a visa. Okay. Good job, Mom. What's your good news, Mountain Girl? The other interesting thing is I never got vaccinated for hepatitis. And it was a requirement when I went to college, but I actually had hepatitis when I was younger. And all the way through college, I had to get my titers tested and run to see if I was eligible to take the vaccine. And I never had the hepatitis vaccine because I was never eligible because it still showed up in my system. So I got hepatitis when I was, I was in 3rd grade. So I guess I was like 10 from eating uncleaned shellfish. They just weren't cleaned properly. And I struggled for a bit of time and then recovered, but the disease still shows up in your system for quite a while. For me, it showed up for, I was 10, and it showed up all the way through 4 years of university, 5 years of university, because I had a red shirt year. So I must have been 23 the last time I had that titer run. And so I've never been vaccinated for hepatitis. And I had never had a flu shot until the first time I was pregnant. And that ended in a miscarriage. So. MGUS, be more specific there. I'm sorry it's cold there, Bobby. Yeah, and the boys have some vaccines. They don't have flu shots and COVID shots and that kind of stuff. So I also opted out of the chickenpox vaccine. And surprisingly, they're 12-year-old but not had chickenpox. I don't know how that happened, but whatever, it's fine. I've seen a lot of stuff with people who've had COVID. The really interesting thing is the people who get it recurrently, I think. People who've had it 3, 4, 5, 6 times. I would love to look at all of their genetics and see where the breakdown is. What we can see in a lot of them is that they're low on vitamin D. And there's actually a correlation. This is not causation, but a correlation. When they looked at the data for the first 564,000 people who died in the hospital, 78% of them were on a medication for high blood pressure, 64% of them were on a medication for cholesterol. And then the next highest thing was type 2 diabetes. So it's quite interesting to say the very least about that thing. The other thing they found is that of the people who survived and left the hospital, their vitamin D level was somewhere between 65 and 85. The range for vitamin D, just so you know, on a lab test is 30 to 100. And they will tell you you're fine at 30. But the people who didn't die of COVID in the hospital had a vitamin D level somewhere between 65 and 85. So especially if you're somebody with a darker skin tone naturally, so you're African descent, you're somewhere in Central America, if you're somewhere from like Spain, even the Mediterranean, you should get your vitamin D checked pretty regularly because it could be something that helps long-term improve your overall health. Vitamin D does act as a hormone in the body. It helps produce all of the hormones in the body, including thyroid. It also, with K2, gets calcium into the bones and out of the arteries. So if you're taking vitamin D, it should be with K2. And that's research-based. That's not just me saying that. Because if you are just taking vitamin D, there's a chance you could end up with more calcium in the blood. And that will cause arterial wall hardening, which could then cause heart disease. So the other thing arterial wall hardening does is it starts to affect our smallest blood vessels first, and that affects your hair. It affects any of your erectile tissues, whether you are male or female, and women, you have erectile tissue too, it just looks different. But if you're experiencing, difficulty with achieving an orgasm, you might have your vitamin D levels checked. Other signs that you have vitamin D deficiency is fatigue, especially in the afternoon, difficulty sleeping, bone pain over the age of 25. You shouldn't just randomly have bone pain, just so you know. And you will have some issues with your endurance level. And Moses, you're going to get blocked in a minute because we don't do political crap on my channel. So you can choose to leave on your own or you are done. Am I clear? So user 818028006. One of the best ways to control your blood pressure naturally and cholesterol naturally, there's a supplement called berberine. It outperforms metformin in every single study. Let me just block that jerk because he thinks this is his channel and it's not. We're going to report him for violent and graphic content and hate speech. And then we're going to block him. So that's, if you don't behave, that's what happens. I report you and I block you, just so you know. You're welcome, Charles. So berberine, it literally in all of the studies outperforms metformin. Metformin is a synthetic derivative of berberine, but it's not the whole plant. And what we are finding time and time again is that the whole plant is what is needed in order to help people get better. There's actually some research coming out even about lavender, where they're looking at how they can dose lavender as opposed to anti-anxiety and sleep medications, because the lavender is outperforming all of those drugs. Like the plant crushed up and the oil taken from the plant is outperforming. So there are some studies being done on that. Berberine is the same. And in every study, it actually outperforms metformin. The other thing, berberine, B-E-R-B-E-R-I-N-E. The other thing that berberine does is it actually helps naturally raise testosterone and repairs the lining of the gut so that you can better absorb your food. Metformin does the opposite. So, interesting little tidbit there. Other than that, I would get some genetic testing done to see where you fall in the ability for your liver to appropriately support processing of fats. Like my genetic testing said that I shouldn't eat fats, which is very unfortunate, because I love like avocado and nuts and fish and things that have naturally good, healthy fats. And I do eat them in moderation, but I can tell when my body's not happy about it. So, Buzz, no. It can continue bleeding and require surgery. The berberine that I use is from Designs for Health. It's called Berberine Synergy. I prefer it over other ones. The berberine is a supplement. And user 818-280-618. I'm not sure exactly what you're asking. George the Wise is asking my thoughts on peptides. Your body does need some peptides. If you're talking about the specific ones that everyone's so hyped up right now about weight loss, I have some very big opinions based on reading 36 research articles. I've done an entire series on that, but I'm happy to summarize here. Number one, the studies using those peptides have the participants on an 800-calorie diet where they are eating only a protein, vegetable, and a fruit. 800 calories a day, only a protein, a vegetable, and fruit. No processed food whatsoever. None. No artificial sugar. No dairy. That's what they have them eating. So are they losing weight because of the peptide or because they're finally eating real food? Number two, the studies are done for 12 weeks, and they quote some research that talks about low-calorie diets. The low-calorie diet research that they quote has women at a low calorie of 1,200 to 1,400, men at a low calorie of 1,500 to 1,700. 800 calories is what's considered a very low-calorie diet. And when you look through the literature, prolonging an 800-calorie diet beyond 12 weeks has actually been shown to have detrimental health effects, severe detrimental health effects, like cardiovascular disease, gastroparesis, which that peptide already causes. Already. It also, because it's a synthetic, is something your liver then has to process. I just told you there's a study where lavender is outperforming anti-anxiety and sleep medications as the whole plant. Your body doesn't like synthetics. It's not a fan. The other thing I don't like about the research, in a study of 3 million people in France using that peptide, the likelihood that someone developed thyroid cancer was 6%. In the general population, the average number of people who develop thyroid cancer is 1.8%. And people will discount that because they'll say we were screening more. Europe's different than here. Europe screens for that stuff faster than we do. The other thing I don't like is it specifically says in the research that if somebody has diabetic gastroparesis, this drug should not be prescribed. And they are prescribing it anyway. The drug's purpose is to cause gastroparesis. For some people, that gastroparesis becomes irreversible and they end up with a feeding tube. Hi, a feeding tube. How do I recall all the information? I studied it inside and out because people are being fed a line so that some other people can make some really big money. And I thought it was important to know the information. And when doctors who I would love to have referring patients to me ask, why aren't you using the peptides? I want to be able to look them in the face and say, well, according to this study, this is what they said. Tony, your body naturally produces cholesterol. Big O, what about bone marrow? And user 818206, the plant, it comes as a capsule. You can get it as a capsule already. I do help people put plans together. I actually run a plan to help reset your metabolism that doesn't include any drugs or supplements. If your HDL is low, you don't want to be taking a statin drug. Yeah, so bone marrow, like well, and this is something a lot of people don't really consider this. Bone marrow is a very interesting delicacy in many countries, not here so much, but in other countries. Like if you do a, oh my gosh, I'm gonna totally forget the name of it. There's a dish, it's an Italian dish, and the bone marrow is like the part that you savor at the end because it has so many health benefits. But the same, like you can buy whole bones from a butcher shop and make your own bone broth, and the marrow is still in there. So you know you're getting some support there. So you can use that, make your own bone broth and have a healthier bone broth that you know exactly what went into it. You're getting some protein out of it, not a ton, but some. And you're getting that healthy bone marrow in there too. The other thing is one of the best ways to increase GLP-1 in your body naturally is to eat more vegetables. Plain and simple. Your body will produce it naturally if you eat more vegetables. And John, I don't think you were here the night that I did my big presentation and I showed all my pictures. Hi, Chloe. Thank you. I have people, Asabuco. Yes. Thank you. I don't know why that couldn't come to my brain, but they leave in the middle. I mean, the meat is cooked for like hours, like 18 hours, and it's delicious and so tender. But the bone marrow is left intact in the bone, and that's the piece that you want. Like that's a delicacy in the stew. So I have a gentleman right now who he did the metabolic reset, and he loved this guy to death. Ended on a Sunday, and on Wednesday left on a trip that was like a boys' trip, basically, where he ate complete garbage, drank a lot of alcohol, beer, hard alcohol, etc., smoked a lot of cigars. And he did the same trip last year. Last year on that trip, he gained 25 pounds. This year on that trip, he gained 8, because we had taught his body how to deal with what he was handing it. So he left on a Wednesday, got home on a Sunday. By the following Wednesday, he was back down to the weight he was when he left. And he took a month off of doing the reset. He has some goals that he set for himself that were not my goals. They were his own goals. And he actually hit a new low weight today. So he's been above 270 for most of his adult life, for at least the last 15 years. And right now he's sitting at like 252. And he's pretty darn happy about that. His goal is to get himself down in the next 3 weeks to 245. So that when he starts adding calories back in, although I don't know how many he's going to add back in, because he's eating 26 to 2,800 calories a day right now. And he's losing weight. But we're having him eat based on his genetics, and it's going well. Well, 3 stones, Chloe, is a lot for you. And also, they get kind of nervous when former cancer patients lose that much weight that fast. But I'm hoping that you did it because you were looking to lose weight. So John, I hope that helps answer question. TikToker, we'd have to look at all the factors. I'm happy to do a consultation with you. You can book through the links here. But that's a lot. Like if you aren't tolerating hormones, there could be something else going on underlying that needs addressing. And again, happy to address that with you, but it would take more than just saying, here's what you should do, because I don't know you or your health or your habits. There are some people who should not do hormone replacement therapy based on their genetics. It's a very, again, simple test. And I don't know why more people don't look at that, because you could really throw someone down a hole that's bad. And it sounds like that's what's happening to you. So, but it's not always genetics. Sometimes it's just simply your body needs some things cleaned out and a little bit of support. I think they just worry when you lose it too fast, honestly. Michelle, I think you mean glandular supplements. First and foremost, the liver has to be healthy. It needs to be able to detox appropriately. So people who are going to have trouble with liver issues are going to have like a messed up MTHFR gene. They're going to have a messed up COMT gene. That they're going to probably be having a gene deletion in the area of detoxification. And so if you have that and it's not being supported, appropriately through nutrition and supplements, sunlight exposure, because believe it or not, your liver is helped by sunlight exposure without sunscreen on. You might experience issues going on with the different glands in your body, and taking a glandular supplement, if the liver is not working well, isn't going to help with that. Is it safe to stop statins? I'm a veteran and they have me on 10 milligrams as preventative type 1 diabetic. So my problem with the preventative, statins are known to cause dementia and Alzheimer's. Why? I'd like to have a slightly lower body fat percentage. But I think honestly, like when people lose, no, it's not. But I think it's when they lose so fast and there's been a history of something, they get concerned. And so I think that's the problem. Yeah, John, are you taking K2 at all? Because that might be a little bit of a solution for you. Maybe. I don't know for sure. But hey, look, on YouTube, somebody liked my live, even though I'm not really engaging on YouTube. I don't know if there's like a way for people to engage with me. I've never done like an actual live on YouTube. I should try and look at that. My boys just got home. What time is it? Oh, it's 7:40 already. Oh my gosh. So I've gotten a lot of questions in the last few days, really the last week, no supplement at all. That might be one that you try, is just find K2, K1 and K2. You can find it by itself. Here comes Alex. So thanks, Diesel. This is Alex. Say hi. Hi. They just got done with some practice and then they were watering plants at their grandma's house, right?
Yeah. How much are we getting paid for them?
$10 a day. Hi, Aaron.
Cool.
George, thank you. The other one will probably be in a minute. But I just wanted to go over some things to help with testosterone that you can do naturally. The first one is you have to detox your house. And a lot of people don't understand what I mean by that. If you have endocrine disruptors in your home and you have low T already, you're not going to elevate it. So anything that you might think about eating off of or drinking out of that's plastic, you got to get rid of it. That would include this can because they are aligned with plastic, believe it or not. Don't drink out of plastic water bottles. They can stay in that bottle for up to 5 years before they sell it to you. Thanks, Chloe. I just had my hair done and I had them actually cut 3 inches off and then she straightened it. So I didn't know what it looked like until yesterday. It's a little shorter than I thought it would be curly. But it looks fine. I'm not disappointed. I did have her take the blonde highlights out though and just leave caramel colored ones. And thank you for whoever that is, user 7649023744. That says that I'm looking beautiful, as I would say. I appreciate it. Good night, John. So getting rid of plastics, it's a huge thing. They're everywhere and you really got to get rid of them. The next thing would be getting rid of your chemical cleaners in your home. The chemical cleaners in your home, they're doing damage to your body. You aren't meant to have exposure to chemicals every day. And if you're cleaning with them, you're exposed to them every day. And if you're not sure, I'm happy to have a conversation with you about the counseling that you desire. Laundry detergent too. Like you have to find a different way to clean your laundry. There's actually a recipe for a laundry detergent. Sorry, distracted. A bird just like tried to fly through the window. Um, the laundry detergents are so toxic, and you really don't need all of that stuff that's in them. And they they have dyes in them. It's 80% water. You could do a cup of baking soda and a cup of vinegar in your washing machine, better for you. If you aren't sure that that's going to work, there are companies that put out some pretty darn clean products, 4X, better for you, that wouldn't harm you. But baking soda and vinegar, one of your best options, and super cheap. You can buy a 5-pound bag of baking soda at Costco, and a big old gallon jug of vinegar. They're super cheap. But same thing with like your Comet, your window cleaner, your like all of those things, whatever it is that you're using to clean the glass in your house and like your shower, break up the soap scum, all of that stuff needs to be clean. This one's Austin. That's another big thing. This one's gonna bother people, and I don't really care, because if you're asking me for my help, this is the truth. You need to get rid of your scented lotions, perfumes, deodorants, candles, air fresheners, all of it, because it's synthetic. If you're using a diffuser to diffuse essential oils, you need to make sure that they are pure, like pure, because a lot of them are diluted with things that aren't what they say is in them. And there's a company that did an independent report on that. They tested the top 13 brands in the world. Only 3 of them came out clean. Only 3. I'm happy to share those with you if you would like. It is one of the reasons I used doTERRA, because they were one of the ones that came out clean. Good, Michael. I'm glad you make your own vinegar cleaner. You can also use the essential oils diluted in some organic coconut oil as a perfume. They work great. Trust me. I get compliments all the time on the perfume I'm wearing, and it's literally essential oils. My favorite one, because it helps detox the thyroid, is a combination of clove, frankincense, and lemongrass. And you put it right over the thyroid, right over the liver. Helps support your thyroid all day long, and people think you smell amazing. The frankincense takes on a different scent with every person because of your own chemistry, and so does the lemongrass. Some people will smell more earthy with it. Some people will smell more of the citrusy with it. And then the clove is just that spice that you need. So that's a great way to get a clean perfume. You can also add drops of essential oil to your lotion, but your lotion needs to be pretty clean as well. I would recommend using olive oil or coconut oil as your lotion. I'm not a vegetarian. I tried going vegetarian a couple of times in my life. It didn't go well. Other things that you need to do: sleep 7 to 9 hours. That's not a joke. 7 to 9 hours. I'm violating all kinds of rules every time I get on and do this live. You should be wearing blue light blocking glasses from 2 o'clock on. You should not have an electronic device in front of your face for 3 hours before you go to bed. You shouldn't eat, for most of us, 3 hours before you go to bed. All of the lights in your house should be fairly dim 3 hours before you go to bed. It would be even better if you replace them all with a red bulb. And don't use overhead lights, use table lamps. That's another way to reset your testosterone. Get sunlight on as much of your body as possible for 30 minutes a day, as early in the day as possible. 30 minutes a day, no sunscreen, no sunglasses. There's research on it like you wouldn't believe. And there's actually a research study that said that men who use a tanning bed and tan in the nude increase their testosterone production by 20% more than men who tan with shorts on. Sunlight's good for you people. The idea that you need sunscreen on every inch of your body is a fallacy. Not to mention how poisonous is that sunscreen. That could be true. And John, yeah, your body is on overload. A liver detox would do you wonders. I can't walk down the aisle that has the cleaners at the grocery store. Amio International and no, sorry, Amio Oils and Aromatics International. One is based out of France, one is based out of Italy. doTERRA is the one that I use because they're based in the US, and I can go to their headquarters and ask questions and talk to the scientists and do all that stuff. It's kind of fun actually when you go. Hi, Dan. Pure D'Or is not pure. They didn't make the cut. It is organic. The earthing thing is way beneficial and you should do it. Particularly if you can get out first thing in the morning while there's still like dew on the grass, like do that. With your shirt off. Ladies, wear a sports bra or a bathing suit top. Men, go topless and be out there for 30 minutes. No sunglasses either. Other things that you can do to increase your testosterone, make sure that your vitamin D level is appropriate. If you're not somewhere between 65 and 85, your vitamin D is too low. End of story. I don't care what your doctor says. Get it tested. Your insurance may not cover it. You can walk into a lab and pay cash to get it tested. There's even a $60 test on Amazon where you can get your vitamin D tested. Get it tested. Get it between 65 and 85. Your testosterone will do better. Your thyroid will do better. End of story. Yeah, so vitamin K, you want it to be as pure as possible, but also like cod from somewhere not in the US. It's a 1-to-1 ratio, so it just depends on how strong you want that scent to be. So I have a 15 milliliter, I don't have it here, it's at my office, but the bottles that I have are this size. And in this bottle, I'll put 12 drops of each and then fill the rest with organic coconut oil. And then I just literally, this one's not open and I'm gifting it to somebody, so I don't want to open it, but I just unscrew the top and I literally just roll it over my thyroid and then roll it over my liver and I smell amazing. It's quite nice. I use other ones some days too, but that one is my go-to. It's like my default. Especially if I'm feeling really tired. It's a sign that you're not converting T4 to T3. So I'll use it because it helps my thyroid. So 1-to-1 ratio. And it just depends on how long you want it to be smelling throughout your day. I don't use krill oil. Hey, dropship from Sky. How are you? I'm gonna put that back. Another thing that you can do to make sure that you are raising your testosterone naturally, we talked about berberine. Berberine helps decrease your liver's toxicity levels and helps your body manage appropriate cholesterol levels. So berberine is a great supplement. If we're talking about other supplements, another one is DIM. It actually acts as an aromatase inhibitor. So if you are overproducing estrogen from your testosterone. DIM stops that process from happening. There is a supplement from Douglas Laboratories that has clinical research that shows that it improves testosterone levels. It's a fairly inexpensive one as far as it goes. Douglas Labs is the company. The name is TestoGain. Boron is a necessary mineral that everyone has to take. If you look, a lot of multivitamins have it in it. You can get boron tested. If you're low, you can take more. Getting a boron supplement by itself is hard. Here's the other thing about boron. If you are a female who has had an estrogen-dependent breast cancer, do not take boron. It will increase that breast cancer. So the blanket statements of just take more boron. Everyone needs boron. Not if you've had a HER positive breast cancer. And that is so even if you're using honey or maple syrup or stevia from the leaf, not from processed garbage, it does count towards that. So you want to make sure you are counting those because they are sugars, they do count. You're welcome, Jeff, thank you. Another thing that you need to make sure that you are doing if you want your testosterone levels to be healthy. You have to poop every day. I'm sorry. You should probably be, if you're eating 3 meals a day, you should be pooping twice a day. You shouldn't have any gas, bloating, diarrhea, constipation. Like you shouldn't waffle back and forth between. You shouldn't have stomach acid issues. So GERD, you shouldn't need to take a medication for that. If you're in that boat, we need to have a conversation about getting your gut right. If your gas is particularly smelly or your poops all float, we need to have a conversation because your gut's not working right. Those are things that can actually help improve your testosterone easily. If you have a high stress job, we need to talk about your stress management because if you are high stress, your adrenal glands are affected. Your adrenal glands is where DHEA is produced and sulfated. It will not sulfate DHEA if you're under too much stress. Here's the important thing to know. You can get your DHEA tested. It doesn't matter if you don't get your DHEA-S tested. If they are both low, you need a DHEA supplement, but you're also going to probably have to take a sulfur supplement if you're not allergic to sulfur. Otherwise, you're going to have to eat foods that increase sulfur-like compounds in your body. Because when DHEA is left unsulfated, you produce estrogen. So if your DHEA is high, but your DHEA-S is low, you end up estrogen dominant and your testosterone will be driven even lower. So we need to fix that balance. And part of it is dealing with your stress. Tom, I can resend you that link again. I sent it through Practice Better. The economical solution for essential oils. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I don't find them for how long they last to be that expensive. Like it takes me, and I use lemon a lot. It takes me somewhere between 6 months and a year to go through a bottle of lemon. I cook with it. I use it when I'm making, like I make a lemon blueberry bread. I use the lemon oil. I use it, lemon, peppermint, and lavender together help decrease seasonal threats for runny noses and sneezing and those kinds of things. And I use it a lot in this house, and I don't use that much of it. The oils, everyone says that they're expensive. It's not, if you're buying what you need, it's not as expensive as you think. Are there other ways to supplement your thyroid? Sure. Yeah, you're counting sugar from fruits. They aren't added sugars, but like, okay. Let's say that you're pre-diabetic and you're trying to lower your risk of developing diabetes. Number one, there's a lot of things that we need to fix there. It's not just that you're pre-diabetic. There's some other stuff happening in the cell that's not working right. But number two, usually with fruit that's not berries, so strawberries, raspberries, blueberries, blackberries, boysenberries, those kinds of things, your blood sugar will spike even with an apple. For some people, they can never eat grapes because grapes push them way high. So really, it's about how your body responds to it glycemically. And you can get what's called a continuous glucose monitor that you wear on your arm, and there are a lot of them on the market. Your insurance may even cover it. And you can see how your body responds so that you know what fruit is appropriate for you and not appropriate for you. The biggest thing I want you to consider is that if you're eating fruit and you eat enough of it, you won't need extra sugars ever. Most people can get away with 2 to 2.5 cups of fruit a day as long as they know how their body responds to it. You should be eating 7 to 8 cups a day of vegetables. Another way to improve your testosterone is to eat foods that are actually high in nitrates that come from the earth: arugula, spinach, beets, etc. And what the research shows is that you need 9 ounces of spinach or arugula and 2 whole beets a day. Yeah, and I have, so user 818, I have people who literally, I had an 85-year-old man come off his blood pressure meds and his cholesterol meds in 6 weeks. He had been on them for 35 years. And you may not be doing any harm to your body then, if that's what you're, and you can track it in different apps and it will tell you what the damage is that you're doing to the sugar content, but it will also tell you, if you get the continuous glucose monitor, how your body specifically responds to it. Does that make sense? And honestly, while I was pregnant, I ate, not kidding, because my body was tolerating very little. I was so sick. I was on Zolfran for my whole pregnancy, and even then I was still vomiting almost daily. My favorite foods to calm my stomach down were green beans and mixed berries. So I would eat the organic frozen mixed berries from Costco that has like the strawberries, blackberries, blueberries, raspberries, and boysenberries in it. And I would just like let that sit in a bowl on the counter. And then I would eat that like slowly. And I would probably eat, not joking, 20 ounces a day. I was going through 3 or 4 bags of those a week. And it's a pretty big bag, but still, like because it was like, if I eat this, I won't vomit. If I eat an apple, one nice thing about an apple though, just in case you wanted to know this, an apple tastes exactly the same coming up as it does going down. So if you know you're going to throw up, eat an apple, because at least then it doesn't taste bad. I learned that while I was pregnant. I couldn't get near a banana. Couldn't do it. Like somebody would open a banana in a room that I was in and I would vomit. And I think that was I had a lot of things going on with my pregnancy, obviously, but I think that was one of the ways that my body was like, hey, don't do this. It's not good for us. And I think that's something that kind of people forget, is that like your body is not going to respond the same way that mine is, right? Because we aren't the same. And I love the continuous glucose monitors, especially because a lot of people's insurance will cover them even if you're not diabetic for a short period of time. And they have ones that you can wear for a couple of weeks. They have ones that you can wear for a couple of months. And they come with this app and you can track everything. So you can even track how you respond to a steak, how you respond to a baked potato versus a sweet potato. And if you're keeping a food log, and then you also put those numbers in from the app, you can, in 3 months, tailor your entire nutrition plan to make sure that you stay healthy, don't end up with diabetes, don't end up with high blood pressure, don't end up with high cholesterol, and lose weight or build muscle. I mean, it's pretty phenomenal what those things can do. But if you don't get the blood work done as you're eating the food, you don't know. Because the blood work is a snapshot in time. It's not the only marker that says maybe your blood sugar has been a little off for way too long is your A1C. That's usually a marker of like the last 3 months. But that doesn't tell you how you respond to individual foods. But the continuous glucose monitors are great for that. So I would look at that. I'm actually thinking about asking my doctor if he'll prescribe one for me so that my insurance will cover it. Actually, my insurance won't cover it because I haven't seen a doctor this year. So I haven't come close to hitting my deductible. So I have an appointment in June. I do actually have to schedule another appointment that I keep forgetting to schedule. I'm over the age of 40, so every other year I have to get a mammogram. They say every year. I'm going every other year. I'm fine. So those are some things that you can do to improve your testosterone naturally. I will finish that video series. I did one video today, got some snarky comments, and one person defending me. But I will finish that. Also, if you go to my profile, there's a series of videos at the top. I have done the ones on testosterone and erectile dysfunction previously. Basically, I'm just redoing them for anybody who's new to the channel. So you guys can look at those too. I did not specify out the peptides with weight loss ones. I am thinking about adding that as a different library for people, but I have not done that yet. So it is after 8 o'clock. And we have still a couple of days left of school with the kids. I'm going to get up at 4 and go lift. So I personally need to go to bed. Gregory, thank you for liking the live. I appreciate it. I will be back with you guys next Wednesday, 7 p.m. Mountain Time. So wherever you're at in the world, it's currently, if you're in California, it's 7 o'clock right now for you. I usually am on for an hour. If you're on the East Coast, it is 10 o'clock for you. So whatever that's worth, that's when I'm usually on, is 7 p.m. Mountain. I hope you guys are having a fantastic week, and I will talk to you later.